Hello and welcome back to Cosmic Nebula. So in today's video, I'm doing another voiceover, and this is because I am using mostly Instagram to react to some of these videos. And so Instagram is damn near impossible to use if my face is covered. So today I wanted to talk about this dating coach by the name of Redbeard Rants. And I guess his name is, I think, Casey Brown or something like that. But this popped up in my Instagram and I watched a couple of his videos, and then I watched a few of his videos, and then I was just like, I have to react to this person because I have been interested in the manosphere genre long before it was even fucking mainstream. Like, I remember being interested in this genre back when it was like a series of fucking blogs. I remember it was probably like maybe 2010, maybe 2011, back when none of this shit was on the internet. None of it was really popular. It wasn't really trendy. It was very underground. And I was mostly interested in it just out of pure and utter curiosity. None of it applies to me. I'm not offended by any of it. I'm not outraged by any of it. I find it extremely fascinating, and I also find it mostly hilarious. My favorite aspect of all social media is just our ability to be able to like look at other people and observe other people and how they behave and how they act, because I think it says a lot about human nature. And so this man's account popped up in my feed, and I was just like, this is probably one of the most ridiculous people that I've seen in a while. And I know that the whole passport bro thing has been popular for a few years now, but I just wanted to react to at least one of them because I think the whole premise of what they do is ridiculous, and I honestly think it's fucking pathetic. So this man goes by the name Redbeard Rants 1. And it basically says, I help busy entrepreneurs reclaim their time by building them an automated system that delivers quality dates using Instagram and no dating apps. So basically, we will watch a video in a second here. He basically uses AI to help men find dates. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, but my problem with this person is just his general attitude. And like all passport bros, they claim to be traditional, they claim to be masculine, they claim to care about women, but what they really are resentful of is that they cannot just have a long line of women that allows them to sleep with them without asking for anything in return ever. And so they take out that resentment on American women because American women are raised in a society where they are fortunate enough to be able to live and work and get educated and earn their own money, so they don't have to rely on a man like this to survive. And so they go to other countries where they prey on a lot of women that come from more underdeveloped places in the world, and they try to use those women's transactional relationship as like proof that women in other countries are different. And my opinion to that is bullshit. It's utter bullshit. But if you look at this man's feed, he doesn't have a lot of posts. He has a lot more reels, actually. And he has about 40,000 followers on Instagram. And if you look through his feed here, all you can see is just videos of him dating. This man is 37 years old. And from all the videos that I saw, he spends 95% of his time basically meeting escorts. And you can see here, if you're watching the video right now directly instead of listening, yeah, you can see here that these women are escorts. These women are escorts. I don't think for a second that women in South American countries dress like this just on a regular Monday evening to go on a date, and they're not escorts. I don't believe it for a second, because a lot of Americans, they go to different countries and they have this weird kind of like Mickey Mouse, Peter Pan, the outside world is a cartoonish kind of attitude when it comes to non-American countries or non-Western countries, where they feel like the people there are just not real multi-dynamic people, just like they are anywhere else in the fucking world. And so they have a very two-dimensional understanding of people in other places, and that happens to me as well. I noticed that a lot as well. Somebody that's lived in a foreign country as an expat for a very, very long time. People come here for a few months, and then they have this attitude that the people here somehow are very different than they are in the United States. And living abroad has taught me that people are exactly the fucking same. So I would guess, common sense tells me that, yeah, women being dressed like this and being at clubs and being dressed in tight, revealing clothing just randomly and on random dates with random men, yeah, it tells me that they are being paid to be there. That common sense tells me that. I don't believe for a second that these countries, regular everyday women that just have regular jobs and come from normal families, I don't believe for a second that they go around doing this, even though they probably occasionally do dress a certain way when they go out to clubs or go out to bars, etc., etc. So the first thing that I really wanted to do was react to a video that this man posted on his YouTube channel. Because he is basically explaining who he is and what he does. So let's go over to this dude's YouTube video to see what he quote unquote does for a living.
Hey everyone, in this video we're going to answer who I am and what I do as if you're a complete stranger. I'm going to move quickly and make it concise. So who am I? My name is Casey Redbeard. I make dating and red pill content on Instagram and YouTube. I've networked and collaborated with all the top people in my industry. I get amazing results for myself.
I didn't know that the world red pill was an industry. The manosphere was an industry. I mean, I guess technically it is, but doesn't it technically also fall under just content creators? Because that's mostly what they are. This is not like it's not like the automotive industry where they have like a clear product that they sell, tangible product that they sell. They sell fake lifestyles and they sell advice. But what always amazes me about these people is how fucking utterly obsessed they are. Utterly obsessed they are with getting validation from women. This man here in this that making this video, he is 37 years old. I could maybe understand like a young teenage boy being kind of insecure about getting validation from women, maybe even a man in his early 20s, but it's like I don't understand how these men never get to the point where their self-esteem doesn't rely on what women think of them. And I feel like that's like a common theme among the manosphere just in general, is that they care so fucking much what women think of them, and their entire being relies on getting validation from fucking women. And I think that that's weird. You're being weird.
More importantly, I get amazing results for my clients as well. So that's kind of like what I do, or who I am, sorry. What do I do is I put the lead generation aspect of dating on autopilot for busy men. The lead generation aspect of dating on autopilot. If you're a business owner, you already know what lead generation is. If you're not a business owner, it basically just means setting up more.
The vast majority of fucking people don't own businesses. I'm so sick of all these weird ass people that have these LLCs that they founded and they run and they make online content talking about being entrepreneurs and business owners. I don't think that this doesn't qualify as technically owning a business. I do think that you can be a content creator and own a business. I don't think it necessarily has to be a brick and mortar store, but I feel like a lot of people love the like ego aspect of being a quote unquote entrepreneur, and they all talk like they all have businesses, and all you have is a fucking microphone and a goddamn ability to upload to YouTube. That's it. That doesn't make you an entrepreneur, but I feel like these people all have the same shitty attitude, and I can't stand it.
Potential clients, more potential girls, like the meeting the girl aspect of dating, right? Like how do you just meet more women to eventually go on a date with you? I do this via AI, automations, and sometimes even a virtual assistant. The whole thing is about being systematized, autopilot for busy men to save time. More specific.
What are most busy men doing? Respectfully. I know in the United States, business ownership is really low compared to a lot of other countries. I think it's less than 10%. Maybe like 5 or 6%. The vast majority of men and women in the United States have regular 40-hour-a-week fucking jobs. I don't understand, again, why these people like him always pretend otherwise. Everybody is high status. Everybody has a fancy job. Apparently nobody works the regular hourly wage jobs anymore. Apparently everybody is making six figures, right? I can't stand hearing the word six figures anymore because these people have essentially burned it out. Build a high status social media profile. What does that mean? Again, and why do you think you need that in order to be attractive to women? And at what point do we not see this as being fucking pathetic? And I want y'all to see what this man goes on to explain. These men, as I said, are obsessed. They are obsessed. Sick. It makes them sick, physically ill, to not receive validation from other people. Not just women. They also want to be envied by other men. And this is the one type of person that I detest. I can't stand people like this. Whether you are female or male, people that need exorbitant amounts of attention and validation from other people in order to have a sense of self or in order to maintain their own fucking self-esteem are the worst people on the planet. And I will never ever be friends with somebody like that, and I will never take a person like that seriously, or I don't even want to be around a fucking person like that. But this man has built a business on basically making social media profiles on Instagram to make his clients look good to attractive women because there's no other reason for living apparently for men.
Typically how I do it is I build you what I call a high status social media profile. More on that later, but it's basically a social media profile that's attractive to women. And then I make that profile explode with an Instagram notifications tab that looks like this. So every day, my VA, that's a virtual assistant, follows about 20 women. And on average, about 7 of them follow back. As you can see here, these are not your little hometown little sixes. These are super beautiful.
Yeah, these women are escorts, sir. This same effect happens to people who are like celebrities or professional athletes or well-known millionaires and billionaires. Yeah, if they think that you have money and that they can at least siphon some of it off by getting you to pay the tab for them to like have experiences, yeah, they'll follow you back.
For girls, I know the photos are tiny, but you can see there. And by getting the girl to follow me back first, I can then send them a message, go straight to their inbox. They'll get a push notification. My message will not land in the hidden request folder of doom, but they will 100% read it. Now, successful dating involves 2 things. 1, getting a girl to go on a date with you. And then 2, knowing how to be charming and charismatic on the date. By the way, why do I use Instagram instead of dating?
Most people are not fucking charismatic and charming. I wish people would really just be themselves. I rarely meet people that are charismatic and charming. I'm talking about as like a natural personality, They're not faking it. They're not being, they're not putting on. So when people try to fake charisma and they try to fake charm, yeah, it seems fake. You cannot be what you are not. And whenever I see a man that watches like this type of content, it's always so fucking obvious that they watch it. Everything they say, everything they do, it seems so out of character for them, and it seems so corny that you can immediately peg them as being a watcher of this type of fucking content. If you watch this shit and you have ever been seduced by this shit, you need to stop it now. If you are not attractive, you need to take that as a hint, a general hint that you should probably lower your fucking standards. And I saw a post recently on Reddit where somebody said, you know, I think that a lot of men have a really hard time accepting the fact that most men historically have not been attractive, but due to the patriarchy and due to men essentially forcing women to all marry some man, right? For thousands of years, most men don't really comprehend the fact that when women have freedom of choice, they get to pick who they like. And if they had always had freedom of choice for the last 12,000 years, right, a lot of them would have never reproduced. And I think that sounds horrible, right? That sounds horrible, but in nature with animals don't give a fuck. Like, a lot of animals never mate. They just die off. But I find it that if you need to go to this length to get women to like you, you are most likely swimming in the wrong fucking pond. Instead of dating women that would have liked you anyway, you're trying to catch a fish that doesn't want to be on your fucking hook. And it always looks fake anyway, but okay.
Dating apps, like why was this all dating apps, Instagram screenshots, not dating apps? We'll go over that in a second too. But the 2 things, you got to get a girl to go on a date with you, and then you got to know how to behave in a charming way on the date. Now, what the other guys teach you, other dating coaches, if you got a guy like, let's say Todd V, good friend of mine, or Owen Cook, also good friend of mine, or pretty much any other dating coach, they just focus on how to be charming and confident once the girl's already standing in front of you. So once you're at the dinner table, sharing a plate of carbonara and some wine with a girl, how do you be charismatic and charming and flirtatious with her? And that's very valuable. I'm not like poo-pooing their stuff, but what I focus on is the lead generation aspect of dating, aka how do you get the girl to be sitting across from the dinner table drinking wine with you in the first place, okay? So while they focus more on the confidence and charm aspect, I'm more on the lead generation thing. And even if you're that guy that's lacking in the confidence department, your vibe, your charm, your confidence, etc., will naturally autocorrect over time by running a lot of volume. So some of you guys, you're already good on dates, you don't really need training or help on that, that's cool. But for the guys who do lack the confidence, I promise you, if you went on 2 to 3 dates a week, every single week.
If you lack the confidence, wouldn't you think that instead of going on dates with women and trying to be liked, it makes more sense to fucking fix your self-esteem? I will never understand that. It's called self-esteem, not everyone else esteem. I don't understand people who don't like themselves. You don't like you, but you want other people to like you. And you, rather than self-reflecting and working on your problems and choosing to accept yourself for who you are, you would rather do everything but that and try to drown out your insecurities by going on dates with really attractive women so that they can make you feel better about yourself. Again, men often who struggle with dating, usually there's a lot of reasons for it, and a lot of the reasons for it is usually their own fucking personality and lack of personal development as a person. And I'm not saying that a lot of women are not undeveloped. A lot of women are undeveloped. They don't have any self-awareness. They don't spend time thinking about who they are and what they do and what they stand for. But a lot of men will still date them, sleep with them, marry them anyway. And that men have the right, I guess, to do that. But I don't understand how a person who doesn't have self-confidence thinks that going on a date is a good idea.
for 6 months, do you think you'd get nervous anymore, stuck inside your head, run out of things to say, kind of like get nervous and drop the ball? Of course you wouldn't, because you'd have abundance and you just have so many reps of practice. But I can also teach the confidence and charisma game. But my forte, like I said, is a lead generation thing. And even though I'm outside the US, just a quick aside, this system works both domestically and abroad. It's not only like a passport bro thing. So how does this system work?
I want y'all to watch how he does this. Watch what he does.
Well, like I was saying earlier, the key is what I call the high status social media profile plus volume, assisted with AI and automation, the whole thing copy and paste systematized. So again, a high status social media profile plus volume. So let's go into those, each of those a bit deeper. So what is this high status social media profile that I keep referring to? A high status social media profile is one that does the work for you in terms of attracting women. She takes one look at your profile, like, who is this new guy who followed me on Instagram? Who is this dude? Or even on a dating app. I don't use dating apps a lot, but some dating apps, but mostly on Instagram. Why is he on a podcast? Why is he giving a speech in a seminar room?
Because he follows the manosphere and they all use the exact same formula. They all wear suits. They always stand in front of a pool outside somewhere tropical like Miami. They always on a podcast. They always giving some kind of speech in a boardroom. They all follow the exact same cookie cutter fucking formula. The exact same, no change, no difference. And so when you are a person that follows a certain cookie cutter formula, guess what? You will attract a certain type of person, a very specific type of person that only likes this type of man. And if you are a kind of man that gives off quote unquote high status, that means that you have some kind of money, which means you are essentially attracting women who are interested in you only because of your supposed status and or money. But these same men will turn around and complain like, I don't understand why this woman doesn't like me for who I am. Yeah, that's because you essentially got with her. You attracted her by being someone you're fucking not, weirdo.
Dressed to the gills in front of other cool, rich-looking entrepreneurs. Why is he hanging out at mansions with
other cool, rich-looking entrepreneurs? That was the best line, right? Because, yeah, most people aren't rich. We know that most people aren't rich. So if most people aren't rich, then why would a woman look at this cookie cutter profile and assume that you were rich? Again, do y'all just love stupid women? But he's about to say, I mean, again, look at all these good looking guys. Yeah, everybody in this picture, they look all right. Everybody here is average at best. Now, one person here is exceptionally good looking and there's nothing wrong with that. But I want y'all to see how delusional this man is. Just like a lot of women he complains about are also delusional.
Friends and this ultra handsome red-bearded guy right here. Again, at a mansion, showing off his physique. This high status profile, like I said, it does the work for you. Women will naturally chase, and it just makes your whole life a lot easier, because who presents themselves on social media? Do any of your friends or guys?
Insecure man presents himself on social media like this. Again, I don't believe that men who are honestly entrepreneurs and who earn a lot of money and who are millionaires, I don't believe for a second that they walk around essentially peacocking like this. At least the secure ones don't. I don't believe for a second. Most wealth is stealth, right? Have y'all ever heard of the concept of stealth wealth? Yeah, a lot of the richest people, they look extremely average. They look extremely basic. They wear regular ass clothes. They don't look fancy at all because they don't want to attract a certain type of person that only wants them to use them for their fucking money. But these kind of insecure men like this man is not bad looking, and I don't necessarily think that it's a bad idea to have maybe like professionally great photos taken for dating. I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, but I think that these people take it to the lengths that they want to be seen as somebody that they are not. Again, I guarantee you this man is probably not an entrepreneur. If he is, he probably doesn't make a whole lot of money. There's nothing wrong with not making a whole lot of money, but I don't get the point of peacocking that in order to get really, really hot chicks to like you. It's stupid.
As you know, have really cool photos that display themselves as confident. I mean, like, let's go. What does a girl think when she sees this? Confident, successful, rich.
She thinks manosphere. She thinks manosphere. She thinks he's one of those alpha male podcasters. That's exactly what any sane woman would think. And then women abroad, they think, this is a dude that I can take advantage of. He's
got good physique, so good looking. All the types of things that a woman is looking for. Now, a couple things you may be thinking, right? Now that we've defined what I mean by like the high status, social media profile, is why Instagram? Okay, we alluded to this a bit before. Why Instagram? Why don't we just use dating apps around here? Why do myself and all my clients just use Instagram? What if you're not a Chad? I mean, Kavian is my client. He's a really good looking dude, right? I'm not.
He's not bad looking. He's not bad looking at all. He looks decently tall. He has nice muscles, a nice face. He's not bad looking at all. The worst thing about this man is that he is extremely insecure. And that's extremely unattractive to me personally. I would never, ever even consider dating a person who needs social validation from a lot of people. And it took me a while to kind of get here. I always had this ick about men and women who are like this. I remember thinking it in middle school. I remember thinking it in elementary school, like, Why do you need to be liked by those types of people? Like, what is your obsession with being included with the cool crowd? Why do you want so badly to be accepted by people who don't really want to associate with you? Why do you need to be found attractive by 20% of the people in this room? Why do you need that? Why is that a necessity? How come it's not good enough to be found attractive by a handful of people or to be loved by one person? I don't understand why that's not good enough for some men and some women. And that trait will universally be unattractive to me, and I will never like a person like that ever.
Not, super terrible looking myself. I'm definitely above average. But what if you're not?
He's not. Look at this man's face, y'all. If you are listening to this video, come and look at this man's face. This man is not above average. He is not above average. Stop it. He is not above average. Let me see if I can increase the size of his face. Look at this man's face, y'all. This man is not above average. Stop. And they always make fun of women of overestimating how attractive they are. This man is at best a 5. I'm not gonna say he's like really unfortunate looking or he's really ugly or anything like that, because he's not really unfortunate looking, but he is not above average. You see men who look like him all the time. White dudes that look like this are a dime a fucking dozen. Stop it.
Chad, will this work? How do you find these girls on Instagram in the first place? I'm telling you to get off dating apps, but how do you find like all the hot girls in your area on Instagram to even begin with? And then what do you say to get them on a date? Well, I have answers to these. I have automations, systems, AI to help with all of these, but the whole process, the entire lead generation aspect of dating on autopilot for you. I can't go on the date for you, at least not yet, but until we get VR helmets or something and I could like act.
How weird is that? If that was possible, how weird is that? You want somebody to go on a date for you. You want somebody to do all this work for you, teach you how to be somebody else. And then once you, I guess, quote unquote, get the girl, then what? Then what? Because you have essentially hooked a person based on a false personality and a false character. So I don't understand how these people think that it's going to work out in the fucking long term. Won't you eventually get tired of being fake?
Like you with the VR AI system, that's where it's going. But you have to go on the date, but I can help automate the entire process of at least getting the girl to the dinner table for you. So key lesson number 1, dating apps are trash. So if you used dating apps in the past and you didn't get good results, you didn't get a lot of matches, the girls were flaky, you're not alone. Why are dating apps trash? 8-to-1 ratio of men to women, low quality personalities, flaky, like they're just there for attention, they're just there to use men. Most of them aren't there to actually go on a date, they just want to be entertained by a guy. And you have to match with a girl before you can message them. So all these hot, beautiful girls that you see on the dating apps that most of them don't match with, you can actually just contact whoever you want on Instagram. And like I just said here, Instagram solves all of these problems. The ratio, the flaking, Instagram solves all of them, okay? So to start with, you have a 1-to-1 ratio of men to women. You don't have an 8-to-1 ratio. They have higher quality personalities. Girls, again, there's some diamonds in the rough. I still use some dating apps, but for the most part.
If you are a beautiful woman on Instagram, yeah, they get a fucking ton of attention, I would imagine. I don't post my face on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere else, but they get, I would imagine, a ton of attention. Yeah, they don't need to really work that hard, so I don't really understand how this man seems to think that somehow, some way, women on Instagram are easier to talk to than women on dating profiles. I would imagine that it's mostly the same. If a woman is really good looking, she probably has men in her direct messages all the time. Why would she be pressed about you? Because this type of insecure dude that only likes a certain type of woman, quote unquote, the baddie look, yeah, they're a dime a fucking dozen. They're literally everywhere. They all have the exact same outfits, the exact same mannerism, the exact same profiles, the exact same attitudes. I'm sure these good-looking women are used to y'all asses and they mostly ignore you. Stop.
They're flaky. They're like perpetual, like serial daters, validation chasers. They're just not really good quality personality.
Yeah, you think a woman that posts to Instagram isn't a validation fucking chaser? These people make no logical sense.
You don't typically meet high quality women on dating apps. Women on Instagram are less flaky, especially if you can find girls with private profiles, which I'll show you how to do that. And you can message whoever you want. That's the best part here. So like I said, you don't need to match with them. There's no algorithm built by nerds keeping you from matching the hot girls that you want, okay? On Instagram, you can just message whoever you want. You don't need to match with them first, which means you'll get hotter girls there. Key lesson number 2, if you're thinking like, well, what if I'm not a Chad? Will this work for me? Is that status is greater than looks. But you do have to be what I call a universal 6. So if you're thinking like, do I have to be a Chad or what's this? Do I have to be super good looking? Yes and no. You have to be what I call a universal 6 to be considered at least an 8 to some women. So look at these girls here. We have the big booty Latina. We have the super skinny Swedish Norwegian girl. We have the black girl with braids.
Every single one of these women are AI generated. Let me see. The middle picture is most definitely AI generated. The one to the right, maybe not AI generated, but definitely AI enhanced. And then I think the one to the left, again, is also AI enhanced. But the one in the center is most definitely AI generated. But watch what this man says about the woman in the middle. Watch.
I think this is disgusting.
He thinks the woman in the middle with blonde hair, dirty blonde hair, blue eyes, fair skin, BMI of like 20 is disgusting, guys. She's slim and she's disgusting. Again, even if this woman isn't your particular type, no, she's not disgusting looking at all by a long shot. This woman is not disgusting looking by a long shot. But he says that she's disgusting looking just because he doesn't prefer this type. So he's really dragging it at this point.
This is like pretty, but not my forte. And this is
not pretty. That's gorgeous. This level of beauty, if this wasn't AI generated and an actual living, breathing woman did look like this, and there are a handful of them that look like this, yeah, this is probably a solid 9.
Gorgeous to me. Some guys think like, ew, she's fat, way too much ass. I want the skinny girl.
Yeah, in 2025, nobody thinks the woman on the right is fat. Stop it. Again, do y'all just watch these videos and y'all just take what these people say hook, line, and sinker, or do y'all not think, yeah, the woman on the right, this body shape has been popular for like the last like 5 to 7 years. A big butt has been popular for the last 8 years in the US especially. So nobody is kicking this woman out of bed. Nobody's kicking any of these women out of bed. Most men are not kicking any of these women out of the fucking bed. Stop it.
The same way that men's tastes vary a lot, so do women. So you have to be at least what I call a universal 6. You can't be super dramatically, overweight, unkempt, unshowered, disgusting guy. But
but that's what the majority of the men who follow these types of channels look like. People talk shit about how like most women in the West are overweight. Yeah, y'all forget that statistic also applies to most men in the West, right? Most American men are overweight. And even if it's the case that there are more women overweight than there are men, yeah, guess what? Fat is fat. So whether it's like 40% of men are overweight and 50% of women are overweight, yeah, that's still mostly the same, right? It's not the case that, 50% of women are overweight, but only 5% of men are overweight. The vast majority of men are also fat as fuck, out of shape, poor habits, poor hygiene habits. They don't dress particularly nicely, right? People love to talk shit about how like, oh, Americans, they dress really trashy, they dress down, they don't really dress up, or they don't dress with a certain standard that, for example, Europeans generally have when they go outside. Yeah, but that standard also applies to most fucking men. So I don't understand. These people, they talk about shit as if what they say about women doesn't directly apply to the majority of the men who watch them as well.
if you can at least, be in shape, take care of yourself, groom yourself well, dress well, present a good presentation on social media, and just be what I call a universal 6, then you'll be an 8 to some women. Just like, this is a 10 to some guys. This is a 10 to some guys. And this is a 10 to some guys. But for some
These women are all 9s. Stop it.
guys, not so much, right? So if you are, grotesquely overweight, you're going to have to go to a foreign country or use money to attract women, which I really, really don't recommend leading with money. Probably just
And I want y'all to see some of his Instagram videos because you're going to see he most definitely leads with fucking money. He most definitely does, because none of these women would be around him if he wasn't paying for something. They always do the exact same thing that they criticize other men for doing, and they're completely unaware of it. And as I get older, one thing that I'm really finding that I really fucking hate in a lot of other people is lack of self-awareness. I know how attractive I am. I'm losing weight right now. When I lose weight, I will have a lot of extra skin. I know a lot of people don't like that. That's fine with me. It doesn't bother me. I'm not insecure about it. I don't mind not being seen as attractive to a lot of men, because I don't think that a lot of men are even worthy of the consideration.
Is the attractive profile,
as I said, the exact same shit. Watch this. The photo on the right objectively looks better. I'm not gonna lie, it objectively looks better. But to be honest, it also looks AI enhanced, because you can see here how much bigger this man's arms are in the photo on the right versus the photo on the left, right? So I detect some catfishing, because I'm pretty sure he is technically wearing the exact same outfit. Maybe he went to the gym, maybe he started exercising, maybe he got bigger. But I get the feeling that this man did not hire a professional photographer to go out with him to multiple locations and shoot all of these really pretty, because this is a professional grade photo. I don't believe that happened, which tells me this is likely AI. So the hand here is fucking weird. So I would say it's probably AI.
As a profile, that means that, you follow 20 women and, 8 out of 10, 6 out of 10, even 3 out of 10, at least, follow back, and you run a lot of volume, which we'll talk about more with some automation, some other stuff. But here's some more examples of guys' camera roll profiles versus photos that were intentionally planned from day one. Here's KV. And again, I mean, which one?
I agree. The men in these pictures all look, the picture quality looks nicer.
What do you think girls would vote for is the more handsome version of Kavian? This one where he looks like a dork, no offense, Kavian, or this one looks like a fucking boss. So we talked about the high status profile. The next up is volume. You might be thinking,
watch how he finds the girls. I want y'all to see how he finds the girls. It's fucking weird.
How do I even find these girls' profiles to begin with? So let me exit out of my presentation for a second. This is an example lead list. I won't name the city because it doesn't really matter, but we look for rooftop lounges, restaurants, beauty salons, hair salons, nail salons, sorority pages for college kids, whatever it is. And we can literally download a list of all the girls that follow those pages. Now, not every girl is beautiful, but you see there are definitely some beautiful girls. And if you can't find, I don't know, say
this dude, he uses some kind of computer app, some computer program to essentially scrape the profiles of bars, lounges, nail salons, hair salons, etc., things that would interest women, quote unquote attractive women, and then he scrapes them, and in and then the program downloads all of that profile information into a fucking spreadsheet, and then you can basically scroll down to see all of their pictures and decide which ones are attractive, and I guess friend them. And in these manosphere spaces, they always sit and they talk about like how men are bosses and men are doing this and doing that, and they have all this, they don't have any time, and they are very busy because they're, making all these boss moves, because nobody works a 40-hour-a-week job anymore. Nobody works an hourly job anymore. All the warehouses, all the blue-collar workers, nobody works at Amazon, nobody is a mail carrier anymore, right? Everybody is a boss dude, right? They talk shit about the boss babe. Everybody's a boss dude. But this is what these men are spending their time doing. And respectfully, that's weird as fuck. This is why I don't post my face to social media. That's weird. To think that a person would scrape a bunch of different Instagram followers in order to scroll through their profile pictures and find the attractive women in order to send them messages so that they can come and have casual sex with them to fuel their insecure ego. I don't think so. But I want y'all to see this man's Instagram, because I feel like his Instagram tells you the truth about who he really is, right? Because he's mildly full of shit. He's not that guy. And these dudes never are that guy, but they spend so much effort into pretending like they are. But as you can see, it seems fake, right? It seems fake to me, and I feel like this would seem fake to women in other countries as well.
You want to watch out for. Number one, women who are not compliant with what you tell them to do, aka women that they're always combative and
women who are not compliant with what you tell them to do. Again, what is it with insecure men and needing to have control over a woman? How come these same men don't put this much effort into having some kind of power or control or dominion over men? Anybody know why that is? They spend all their time talking about how they need to dominate a woman, how they need to have a woman listen to them. Otherwise, they're going to crash the fuck out because the woman that they are with doesn't follow their every word. And why do these men always think that because they have XY fucking chromosomes, that means that they have some higher level of fucking intelligence? Does it exist the case that there are more logical men who have done more intelligent things than there are women? Yes, that is fact, right? If we look at history, that is fact. However, if we compare the number of men that have changed the world in a very big way, and we compare it to the number of men that have lived in the world, you will find that the vast majority of men have not done shit. The majority of men are not leaders. The majority of men are not particularly intelligent. They're not particularly hardworking, but they want some woman that they can have control over. And I will never respect any man or woman that likes to dominate other people, period. But this man, again, men like him always the exact fucking same. A woman has to behave this specific way, and if she doesn't, they can't feel comfortable in themselves. Again, I don't like people who need to have another person be or do something in order for them to feel good about themselves. Bullshit. I don't need a man to be X, Y, Z, A, B, fucking C. I don't need that. I know who I am.
Disagreeable for no reason, always testing you on every little thing.
Again, why do they date petty women? Do I think these kind of women exist? Yeah, I've met women like this. But guess what? You can just choose to not date them. Isn't that strange? You can just choose to not be around women like this. It's almost as if you had freedom of fucking choice. And when you allow toxic people into your life, it's your fault, not theirs. But watch, I want y'all to listen to the next one.
It's a very masculine quality. It's frustrating. It's irritating.
No, it's not, because most men don't have the guts to stand up to most men. Stop it.
To be around, and any girl with masculine traits should be at the top of your list.
Stop it. Masculine and feminine do not exist in a fucking vacuum, idiot.
Of red flags. The next one is tattoos. Any woman that would... Can't even say it without laughing. Think it's a good idea to...
And you know what's really funny? Y'all will see here in a few more videos, the women he claims to quote-unquote date, right? Date. What I mean is pay. The majority of them have tattoos. So this particular woman doesn't. But the majority of the women that you see him on dates with, they do. So he has all of these standards. He's really high class, but he continuously does things that he says he doesn't like. Back to back to back.
To take a needle and pierce her feminine, collagen-rich female skin with a bunch of ugly scribbles in like irremovable ink, shows very low IQ thinking and shows that she's very susceptible to groupthink.
Most people are susceptible to groupthink, including this man, right? I guarantee this man didn't think like this 10 years ago. I bet money. I'm willing to put down money on the table and say that 10 plus years ago, this man was some random, average looking, super agreeable, go with the flow, date how you're supposed to, quote unquote, supposed to date, based on modern standards type of dude. And then one day he stumbled upon some manosphere content and he started watching it, and then he changed his whole fucking personality. Because we see this happen with people constantly. All you have to do is be on social media and you see all of these fully grown, frontal lobe developed adults following trend after trend after trend, thought after thought. If you are a part of any political party, you are a sheep. If you lean heavily in any direction, you are a fucking sheep. People need to understand that. They love talking shit about the liberals, the conservatives. Guess what? You can be conservative on some issues, maybe liberal on some issues, but you should mostly be a fucking moderate on most things, right? Because everything should be taken in moderation. But people who have strong affiliations with anything, what do you think that makes you? It makes you a fucking sheep. Because there exists no world in which there is a right answer really to almost anything when you think about it. But the vast majority, for example, but the vast majority of people, they tend to find some rhetoric to attach themselves to, some religion to attach themselves to, some political party to attach themselves to, some ideology, some identity to attach themselves to, because the vast majority of people are sheep. They are followers, they are dogmatic, and this dude is the same. But I feel like a lot of people really don't think of themselves like that, and that really goes to show a huge lack of fucking self-awareness.
Speaking of groupthink, any girl that's got any type of feminist or woke culture or radical left
So basically, it's groupthink so long as she does whatever I don't agree with. That you understand that, right, guys?
brainwashing, you want to avoid those girls and run for the hills. If you like what I had to say, follow for volume 2 of Red Flags in Women.
And so I want y'all to see how this dude is like always with another woman. That he dates guys, and what he means is that he pays these women to do this, because I've never been to any of these countries, like I said, but I highly doubt that random women in foreign countries are meeting random men, especially foreign men, that they don't know for dates because they're just so feminine, so grateful. Women all universally have a natural instinct to protect themselves from fucking strange men. And this goes doubly for men who are not a part of their country and their fucking culture, weirdo. So a lot of these women are being paid to be here. I want y'all to see how these women treat this man, because they're being paid to be here.
Boy, do I love being an average-looking white guy here in Latin America. I mean, look how beautiful this girl is. She's like a 9 out of 10, and she's all over me like a feminine, sexy little kitten. Listen, guys, if you want to have success in dating, take my advice. Either date foreign women in the U.S. or go overseas like I did. The typical woman raised in the U.S. is no good. Let me know if you agree in the comments.
He needs to stop it. These women are all paid escorts. Paid escorts. I don't care what anybody says. They're paid escorts. This woman is very pretty. Do we honestly think that this woman met this man and then she just decided, I'll hang all over him, kiss him, hang out with him, let him have sex with me and get nothing in return. I'm doing all of this because I'm a feminine woman and all I want to do is give my body away and put my health at risk by having sex with a bunch of random foreign men. Stop it. They're getting money in exchange. There's some kind of deal going on here. This is not how any woman anywhere in the world behaves. Period. But these dudes are always trying to fucking claim that these women like them just because they have XY chromosomes and they fucking exist. As if that existed in the world, right? No man exists anywhere in the world that's just gonna buy me something just because I'm breathing, right? That's not how reality works. But these dudes are always trying to convince people that they are not paying for it, guys. Women here they just like them. Culturally, women here in South America are raised to open their legs to any old random dude off the street because they're feminine and they're not brainwashed. Stop it.
You're not a broke boy. You can go out and travel and meet feminine Latinas, get your passports, go out of the country. You put in the time to learn fluent Spanish, even though I'm speaking English right now. Yo hablo español casi con 100% fluidez. Sí o sí. Entonces, this is how you enjoy the fruits of your labor as a man who's earned his right to be treated like a king with his Pocahontas indigenous princess.
So I want y'all to see this video here. Watch how this girl just does not seem interested in him at all. And what really gets me is that these same dudes, they always complain about like how American women want men to like buy them dinner, but I'm pretty sure this woman is also here for the food. I'm pretty sure she's also here for the experience. Maybe she's not being paid maybe directly, but she's here for the food and the experience because American women do it. So why do y'all think women in other countries don't fucking do it, right? They do it because they have good intentions and they're marriageable material. Stop it. This woman is randomly kissing him on a date because they're marriageable material. Stop it.
This is it, boys. This is how you enjoy the fruits of your labor. When you become
Look at her face.
a man who has a good, strong, masculine personality,
What does that mean?
confidence, you've learned game, you've learned how to cold approach, and
Why would you need to learn game? Somebody explain that to me. Why would you need to learn game? I thought that attractive man, first of all, already has charisma, already has charm, already has the ability to talk to women. When you consider for all of the men that naturally possess these fucking traits, yeah, they're a small portion of the population. And when you control for like women that are really, 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 really naturally good looking, they're a fucking tiny percent of the population. Why does everybody always act like these rare qualities are overly represented in men and women? They're not. And if you had to learn game, that means that you were a loser and that you are still a loser. And if you look at this woman's face, she is not interested in him at all. She doesn't want this camera in her fucking face.
talk to women. You have a strong social media, say high status social media presence.
What does that mean? A bunch of people follow me on social media, so that means I'm a cool guy? Again, this man is 37. He's a fucking millennial. I'm a millennial. He's a millennial, and he is worried about having a lot of followers on social media in order to be cool. And he's 37. You have nothing else that interests you in your fucking life? Really?
You have a little bit of money in the bank. You're not a broke boy. You can go out.
He doesn't have that much money. No, he doesn't. People who have a lot of money, like I said, they don't talk about how much money they have. Every time I see one of these like dudes on the internet that fucking hang out in these South American countries, that hang out in Miami, that always trying to fucking flex on social media, none of them have as much money as they pretend to have. Ever. Because if they did, they wouldn't feel so insecure about it and feel the need to remind us of it.
Go out and travel and meet feminine Latinas, get your passports, go out of the country. You put in the time to learn fluent Spanish, even though I'm speaking English right now. Yo hablo español casi con 100% fluidez. Sí o sí. Entonces, this is how you enjoy the fruits of your labor as a man who's earned his right to be treated like a king.
What did he earn? Again, do we all see the like repetitive narrative that a lot of these men in this space tend to have? They all feel like they are male, they were born with a penis and testicles and XY chromosomes, and for this reason they deserve to be treated a certain type of way. And this is mostly because history has convinced men, trained men, that they are supposed to be given some respect just by virtue of the Y sperm hit the X egg. Like, just because the Y sperm made it first, they're just afforded something. And there are a lot of women actually who have the same attitude. I'm a woman and I have XX chromosomes and I'm alive and I'm breathing, so you're supposed to treat me like a queen and you're supposed to give me this, that, and the other. And people like this, let me tell you, they all deserve each other. They should leave everybody else the fuck alone. But I've always noticed that they always have the exact same attitude. When you've earned it, what did he earn? He is owed this woman's validation, this woman's body, this woman's attention because of what? Specifically because of what? They never know what, but they claim that this thing has been owed to them.
Everything. We can't just use our sexuality to finagle our way to getting all these free cash and prizes. And because the man's life is harder, he has inherently had...
Men's lives are not hard in the 21st century. Stop it. In a developed country, your life as a man is not hard. Having access to healthcare, having access to clean water, to housing, to food, to relative safety due to law and order in the country you live in, having access to medical care, having access to education, having access to jobs, to money. Yeah, stop it. Men do not have hard lives. Again, but you notice how these people always say that a man's life is hard because he has to put in effort to get a woman, and that's just the worst fucking thing ever. To have to put in effort to get a woman to like him is just the hardest thing, and we can't use our bodies or our looks to get whatever. And women shouldn't fucking be able to either. Every man who is seduced and convinced to do shit for a woman just because the way she looks is a fucking idiot. You're an idiot. Any man paying for some woman's OF account is an idiot. Any man paying a woman's rent just because she's a woman is an idiot. If that ain't your wife, y'all ain't married, y'all ain't getting married. Why are you doing all of these things? But I have personally, and I'm sure all of y'all have too, seen men doing all of this shit for women just because they are female, and then they will turn around and moan and groan and claim and blame women for taking advantage of these things when most people in the world are fucking opportunistic. And if this man had the chance to do the same shit, he'd do the same. So we can see that he abuses his quote-unquote power in South America, right? Just by virtue of him having an American passport, he has some kind of status, right? Especially for women who come from lower classes in South American countries. So he has no problem abusing that, but he resents the women that abuse the whatever little power they have.
And to solve so many more problems in his life is so much more difficult.
What problems are the average man solving? Why do we sit here pretending like society is not developed? The industrial age didn't fucking happen. We are in the post-industrial age. Stop it. You have air conditioning in your fucking house. You've never cut down a fucking tree. You've never built a house. You've never hunted. You never killed an animal. You never had to provide for your family. You've never had to fight off an intruder. You understand what I'm saying? Most of y'all haven't fought in wars. What are you talking about? Historically, men have had it very, very, very fucking hard. Very hard. Life used to be really dangerous for men and women. But in the 21st century in a developed country, you are living the high life. Everybody is living the high life, including this fucking man. But notice how these dudes, always the worst thing that's ever happened to them is the fact that women don't like them and they have to put an effort to get a woman. You fucking weirdo.
He should lead the relationship by simple matter of the fact that he has had to think more and solve more problems.
What problems? Think about what more? This is ridiculous. If what is it? The majority of adult Americans between early 20s to late 30s are single. So again, how is it exists the case that women can go to college, they can have jobs, they can pay their bills, they can maintain bank accounts, they can maintain their homes, they can feed themselves, clothe themselves, pay for their own cars, pay for their own gas, drive themselves around. How is it possible that women can do all of these things if they can't think? How is that possible? Like, I'm curious at this point, because these people always say the same thing. Men have had to think more. Think more about what? Again, we don't live in fucking 1508. You don't have to think about how you are going to build the next thing to protect your whole fucking family unit from a potential intruder because you live in an advanced society. So stop it.
Problems. Therefore, he is more apt to be the leader than the other person, the woman in the relationship.
Stupid. So stupid. Most men are not fucking leaders. Stop it. Most men, the only thing that most men and women can contribute to the world is the ability to have kids and raise them. The end. That's most men and women's contribution to life. You will not invent something that changes the world. You will not hold a job that changes the world. You will not hold some major position of fucking power. You will not be particularly rich. You will not be written about in the history books. That goes for 99.9% of all human beings, including the majority of men. Just because the majority of people who have invented things that have changed the world have been male, that doesn't mean that the vast, vast, vast majority of 99% of men have not done anything. And so, again, by virtue of having XY chromosomes doesn't fucking mean that you're good at leading. And again, history has fucking proven that. If most men were competent leaders and competent at taking care of their family and competent at providing for their families, women wouldn't have lobbied so hard for the right to have their own bank accounts and the right to make their own money and have their own jobs. They wouldn't have done that if men were doing their part as competently as these types of dudes love to kind of pretend like they were. A lot of men throughout history have been extremely incompetent and extremely irresponsible, despite the fact that they were head of households, despite the fact that the laws and the culture gave them power. The majority of them didn't know how to wield it. And so this is how you end up in the world we have today, where a lot of women, not just in Western countries, but also in fucking Eastern countries, don't want to saddle themselves up to a fucking man. And this is not to put down men. I think that this shows that there is like a systemic cultural just holdover delusion that a lot of men tend to have, because they look at history and they think like, oh, the way men was treated in the past was earned. No, it was taken. And we know that because if there existed a case where women wanted to be stay-at-home wives, they want to have kids, they wanted to not be able to work, they wanted to not be able to handle money or own property, etc., etc. If it existed the case that this is what women wanted, almost every single society on the planet Earth for thousands of years would not have had to make laws preventing women from doing any of those fucking things. Right? We don't have any laws that say you are obligated to drink water, because it is the nature of a human being to want to drink water because we need it to fucking survive. So stop it. I can't stand people like this. Stop it. And you know what? I love meeting people like this in the wild, because you can always easily crush their fucking self-esteem. And I always do. Because they deserve it. But I want y'all to see this video. Basically, this dude is complaining about the women he used to date and how quote-unquote ugly they were, guys. They were so ugly. So all the women you just saw were all pretty average looking. Again, his type. They were exactly his level. And then he shows a video of him kissing like really pretty escorts in South America, and then smugly looking back at the camera. Yeah, sorry, sir. This is just another man that's delusional. Again, if you go to a place where people have less than you, a lot less than you, and they want to get what you have, you will temporarily have the upper hand. But again, to some degree, you are preying upon other people's lack of opportunities. You are preying upon it to some degree, right? There's a reason why these people always go to poorer countries. But even in those poorer countries, less developed countries, there are upper class women that live there, right? There are always upper classes in every country in the world, no matter how poor it is. And guess what? One thing I've noticed being an expat abroad is that in the country that I live in, you see a lot of men that also have this attitude like the women here are so feminine and they're so demure and they're so XYZ. None of this is true. This is just false imagery or false assumptions about a culture you don't live in. But a lot of women here tend to marry equals. So if they do marry a foreign man and they're raised middle class, I'm talking about like strong middle class, they will marry a foreign man whose family is also strong middle class and who can also provide a middle class lifestyle. And the same for upper classes and the same for the rich classes. But whenever I see like an expat man here talking about like, yeah, I got me a native woman here, I don't date Western women, they're always dating the lower class women here. And you would probably say like, Cosmic Nebula, how do you know they're lower class? Every culture has like a marker for what a lower class person looks like. In the US, when you think of like white trash or like black ghetto people, we all know the type of person that comes to our mind, right? Yeah, every culture has somebody like that. And when I sit and I see like the expat stories of being like married to people here and like the toxic shit that they get into in like their relationships and like their in-laws and shit, like this is not like standard stuff. And the reason that it happens is because these are your lower class riffraffs. And because most of them will not date a foreigner if they have some kind of status. And it's true for this man as well. But he seems to think that the women he used to date, which were exactly his level, are all ugly compared to these women. And he's better than the women he used to date. And he's not. So I want y'all to look at this video. What does this video remind you of, guys?
Una vuelta. Oh my God.
If you're not watching this video, he is in his house, I assume, a hotel room, something. And there is a woman in a tight pink dress sitting on his bed, staring at the camera, standing up and spinning around because he's telling her to spin him around. Because he's telling her to spin around. And the camera is at a point of view angle. What does this remind you of, guys?
Mama sota. Para. Okay, y una vuelta. Oh my God.
So you mean to tell me that this random woman that he met on the street that is just a feminine, normal, lively, fun, bubbly woman who doesn't know him really at all because she's not in any of his other videos, this woman agreed to come to his house and she didn't receive any kind of payment for anything, and she is sitting in his room and letting him tell her to stand up and spin around so he can see her butt in this tight dress, and she's definitely not an escort and she's not being paid. Really? In what country do women like that exist? Again, we have to think about biology. For women, it is dangerous for them to go out and meet strange men. It is dangerous for them to do it. The only type of women that go out to meet strange men are a very specific type of women. And this man wants us to believe that he is dating this woman, right? He keeps saying, this is why I date women abroad. Sir, you're paying women abroad. Even in the comments, people are like, nah. That there's no way that this woman is doing this video for you. Again, just because he has XY chromosome, guys, and he's a man and he exists. So that means that these women are out here doing this for any man that they meet all the time just because they were born in South America and that's South American culture. Now, I've never been to South America, but again, 1 + 1 is 2, and that scenario doesn't make sense to me. You mean to tell me that South American men are raising their daughters to be excessively friendly and trusting to any and all men, strange men that they don't know, and to let them be treated like sexual objects with no commitment, no relationships, no financial transactions, and they're just doing that? Are we saying that makes sense? This dude is a whole clown. He's a clown. And it's even weirder to me because, respectfully, grown adults can do whatever they want, right? If she wants to charge for her services, she can do whatever she wants. If he wants to pay, he can do whatever he wants. I don't really care. But it makes me annoyed that these people seem to look down on the idea of paying for it, but that is most definitely what they're doing. He's paying for it. Stop it.
All these women in my comment section are hilarious. They're calling me toxic, and they're demanding a 6-figure guy, 6 feet, all that stuff. While
Again, why is it that the manosphere only talks about a certain type of woman? Do these women that are delusional, that only want 6 feet tall men that make a lot of money exist? Yeah, they exist. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I'm saying is that if you meet a woman and she only wants a man that's 6 feet and makes a lot of money, stop talking to her. Again, I don't understand why these dudes stop and they spend so much time and so much energy focusing on women that don't suit them at all. You mean to tell me that every single woman in the United States is a fucking monolith? Every single woman wants a man that's 6 feet tall. Every single woman wants a man that makes a lot of money? Or is it that a specific type of woman that lives in a certain place, that lives a certain lifestyle, dresses a certain way, hangs out in certain spaces, wants that, right? Because in these videos, these dudes are always around women for whom beauty is their biggest asset. They're always extremely dressed up, always in tight dresses, always hanging out around bars and clubs. These women are positioning themselves in places to find men that have a lot of money. So when you are that type of man and you go to those places where those type of women tend to go, yeah, you are going to come in contact with those type of fucking women. If I go to the tropical country that's extremely humid and swampy in the summer, guess what I'm going to find? A bunch of fucking mosquitoes. But these dudes act like every single woman is this way, and they do this because another thing that I've noticed, y'all, is that most people will tell you the type of person that they like because they will often complain about that type of person being a problem. So, for example, a lot of black women will complain about men being thugs or being deadbeats or being broke and not having jobs and being hood and, you know, just being low-class black men. And yes, those types of black men do exist. I've met them. I grew up in the fucking hood my entire childhood. I've seen them my entire childhood. I am not debating whether or not they exist, but I am saying that you could just choose to not go for them. I've never been fucking attracted to them. I've never understood why women were fucking attracted to them. The women around me, I've never understood what they found appealing about some fucking thug piece of shit ass nigga. I don't get it. It doesn't appeal to me. Never have, never will. But what I don't like is that people will have a certain type that they like and they'll focus so heavily on that type. And then they'll complain about how that type has downsides, right? When your type is dogs, you can't complain about getting fleas because you lay down with dogs, right? You can choose to stop fucking with dogs. But people that continue to do that, they always try to blame everybody else, right? It's women's fault that I'm only attracted to superficial women that only like tall dudes that have a lot of money. These dudes, in my opinion, they all want a very, very, very exceptionally attractive woman who likes status, who likes money, so that they can show her off to all his friends, right? Because he wants to absorb some of that, the status that she brings to him by dating her, right? He wants to absorb that, but guess what? A woman who is attracted to superficial shit like height and money and status, yeah, she's going to be superficial as fuck and shallow as fuck and transactional as hell. Do we not really understand that 1 + 1 = fucking 2 or what? But the thing is that these dudes, they want a woman who has all of these qualities, extremely good looking, extremely into the way she looks, loves wearing tight-fitted clothes and showing off her body to everybody else, loves attention, loves men with money, loves XYZ ABC. They want her to be all of that, but then they also want her to have a heart of gold and to be very uninterested in how a man looks and what a man has, right? They want to have their cake and fucking eat it too. And to people like that, good luck in life. Really, good luck in life. You are not going to be happy at any point in your fucking life. because you cannot get over the fact that what you like has a lot of negative aspects to it. So I don't feel sorry for the people like this dude. You can see here, this man goes to South American countries. There's probably a lot of very average, nice women who want to get married and settle down and have kids, maybe interested in meeting a foreign man, maybe interested in moving to the U.S. But you can see that these dudes all live the exact same lifestyle. They only want to meet beautiful women and sleep with them and then move on. And like I said at multiple points in this video, I don't believe for a second that these women are not escorts. And I don't believe for a second that these women are allowing these men, whether it's men in their own country or men from abroad, to come to this country and meet them and be excessively open with them and do all these things for them and cook for them and clean for them, expecting nothing in return, right? These women are apparently having a sexual relationship with this man and expecting nothing in return, just having sex with him freely because they're feminine and nice and kind, and they don't believe in protecting what, their fucking health. They don't believe in that because they're feminine and they're not raised in a feminazi society. What the fuck are you saying? A conservative woman wouldn't be out in the streets doing this, but you'll notice that these dudes never go for those types of women in these countries. They never do. Because a conservative woman in a South American country is not letting you have sex with her and you're not in a relationship or serious about her. She's not doing that. And even women like this that are promiscuous, they're not doing any of this for free. But it always makes me laugh how these dudes go to another country and they act like they like hoodwinking everybody. They're fooling everybody. These women are just sleeping with me and getting nothing in return. Stop it. At bare minimum, they're getting you to pay for them to have an experience that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to have. And I wanted to end this video with this. I actually read a story. This was a few years ago. I think it was on Reddit. Some dude, he was like a digital nomad. He worked from his computer. And so he was in some tropical country, some coastal country, somewhere in the South, maybe an island country, maybe Puerto Rico or somewhere like that, like an island country. And so he met a woman at a bar and she was really good looking and like she was really into him and she wanted to come back to his hotel. And like he apparently had rented a house for I think a month or two and he was just planning on working there. And so he was planning on working there. And this was like a beachfront, white sands, clear water, like really nice, Airbnb type thing. And it was like a multi-room house, and it was really, really nice. And so he brought her back there, and he slept with her that night, right? And so this motherfucker thought in his mind that like, wow, this young, attractive woman likes me for me. What a idiot. And so the next morning they wake up, right? This woman refuses to leave. She refuses to leave. He is just like, why won't you leave? He's telling her to get out. This woman has made herself at fucking home. She is not going anywhere. And he is in a country where he doesn't speak the language. So what is he going to do? Call the police? Like, I don't know the laws for the country he was in when it comes to like a person squatting or having the rights to be inside of a property for X amount of time. But she was just like, nah, I'm not leaving. And so she was eating his food, watching his TV, enjoying herself in all of his amenities. I mean, shamelessly. She had no shame about just using this man's fucking house freely like it was her own shit that she paid for. And this man's jaw is on the floor. The audacity that this woman has, y'all. The audacity she has to stay in his house that he paid for, even though he thought she should leave the next day, right? She should come there with him, sleep with him, wake up in the morning and go home. So he gets something out of the deal and she gets nothing? This grown-ass man, this man was in his like late 30s, early 40s. Yeah, he thought that was how the world worked. And so this woman was in his house. By the time he wrote this post, she was in his house for a while. At this point, like multiple days. She was going nowhere. And because she knew he didn't speak the language, she knew he didn't know how to get her out. And of course, because he's a fucking pushover, she saw him. She saw in him that he was a pushover, and she knew he was non-confrontational. And so he didn't really do much to get her out. And so I was just reading this story laughing my ass off because that's exactly what the fuck he gets, right? The idea that you should be able to go to another country and just take and be treated like a god, treated like a king, and that these people there are just giving to you, giving themselves to you, giving their body to you, giving their kindness to you, giving their hospitality to you for free, because you're special? You think that these people have no ulterior motives and they can't possibly have any ulterior motives or intent to use you, and then they are shocked when it turns out that way? Listen, that's probably one of the most American fucking things I've ever heard in my entire life, right? A lot of people like this dude, Casey Redbeard Rants, they are extremely entitled people. They have no good intentions. They are extremely opportunistic. They are looking for people to take advantage of. And in the United States, they are always outraged that women in the United States won't let them take advantage of them, even though they aren't attractive, right? I know as a woman that's very average looking that beautiful women get special treatment. Like, I understand that. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. I think it's retarded, and I think you're stupid if you do it. But I know that it's a reality that exists. I'm not delusional about it, but I don't feel like I need to get any of this special attention or special treatment just because I fucking live and breathe and exist. I know that that's like a big thing that's trending on social media these last few years, where women are queens and men have to pay for everything. And if he don't pay for everything, I'm not going out on a date with him. And he better take me to a nice restaurant and buy me this purse and get my nails done and my hair done. Yada, 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 yada. I understand that those type of women exist. I do. But guess what? That's not who I am. Just because there are men out there that you can take advantage of who have low self-esteem, low self-worth, or whatever, just because there are men out there doesn't mean I'm going to take advantage of them, because that's not who I am. But this type of man, he is that type of person. And so his bitterness stems from the fact that attractive American women that have their own shit won't let him have casual sexual relationships with them. And so he goes to foreign countries to do it, because we can always see that these dudes never go to another country and they never seriously date anybody. They just go there for essentially tourism, right? Sexual tourism, and that's it, right? That's it. That's their entitlement. And they're all entitled, and they all have these really toxic traits, and they don't ever see themselves like that, right? They're the victim. It's because society hates masculine men and masculinity, and it's not because I'm unattractive. This man, as you can see, yeah, he's not that good looking. He is not. He's very average looking body, very pale. He could probably get a very average looking girlfriend, but he doesn't want that, right? Because in his mind, he deserves better. So he was making fun of women who are fat and overweight, and they think they deserve 6 foot tall men that make a lot of money. But he is the exact same thing. He's the male version of that. He's the male version of a fat woman that thinks she deserves a man that's 6 foot tall and makes a lot of money. But he doesn't see himself that way. Why? Because he has XY chromosomes. And so men like this, they get to live their lives being used by women in other countries, because make no mistake, y'all, these women are not stupid. They are not stupid. People in underdeveloped countries are not fucking stupid. They know why you're there. They know what you want from them. And they will give it to you, but they will get something in return. And I don't believe for a second, like I said, this man is not paying these women. These women are all dressed like escorts. Every single last one of them. How is that possible? Do all women in South America just walk around in really tight dresses randomly? I don't think so. So people like this, they always get what they deserve, right? He is unhappy. He never got a woman in the United States. He is perpetually bitter about it. He is perpetually resentful for it. And this is the karma that he gets to live with for the rest of his fucking life. And with that, I will end this video, and I will see you in the next one.